Hey everyone, good afternoon. Finally, I'm able to get back on and come on live again to give you some more valuable information. And one of the topics I think is really important to touch basis on because I am a holistic healer is stress. Stress has the most important role in our bodies, and it usually affects the gut first with abdominal pain, abdominal pain, indigestion, nausea, diarrhea, those types of things. And when we don't manage, we are so well equipped to manage stress in low doses. It comes and goes, right? How we deal with things. But when it gets to be chronic or long term, it can really affect our musculoskeletal, respiratory, cardiovascular, endocrine system, gastrointestinal areas, nervous system, and even reproduction. I mean, there's a lot of women in the United States who go through infertility. There is a lot of it sometimes is hereditary issues, but then sometimes a lot of it is just daily stress. We're not designed to live with that kind of stress. And the endocrine system is all of our organs and our glands that are in our bodies. So it affects every area of our bodies. And not to mention the high blood pressure, respiratory issues, obesity, stroke. This is what I lost my mother to. Of course, she had a little bit of a dementia, but that she just couldn't get over the passing of my father. She couldn't get over putting that stress on herself. Mind constantly racing, always thinking, not being able to quiet the mind and the heart. And there's effective ways of being able to do that. And one of the ones I wanted to talk about today was, uh, obviously the one thing is meditation, but you're not always in a position where you can sit down and meditate, correct? I mean, if you're in corporate America or if you have a electrician job or, whatever your sector is in the work area, it's not always easy to do that, to be able to just sit down and get quiet for 5 or 10 minutes, especially if you're one answering the phone, insurance policies, whatever it is you might be doing. It's not that easy. So, what I find sometimes that I can do on the go, and it's been effective for me because I've come from a very stressful life, like we all have. I mean, everybody grows up with some type of stress, right? I mean, it's either abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse. Maybe you had to deal with some other issues. Um, give you a little bit of background of me. I was an intravenous IV cocaine user. I was an alcoholic that wasn't enough. Then I became addicted to cocaine and I mainlined it for 8 months of my life. I lost my children. And because of that, my ex-husband's family has a lot of money and I didn't have any. So that was a very big hurdle for me to get over. So I had to learn ways to manage what I was dealing with. I know that's why I was diagnosed with fatty liver. I know that's why it was because that and the diet I was on just completely plummeted my health. And I only had one way up. So learning, and I'd like to share that with you today, if you'll stay with me. Being able to, and I'm maybe in a stressful situation here. So being able to take a few minutes out of your day to just kind of, and I went through this morning even because I just couldn't sleep very good last night. My dreams were real bad. And I didn't practice my breathing techniques, which normally I take deep breaths. I try to count 5 seconds, taking a deep breath in, and you exhale it for 5 seconds. It's not as easy as you think. Um, I've kind of lost the touch. I used to be able to do that. But again, you're not always in a place where you can do that. So, what sometimes I do is if I'm watching TV or if I'm even working on a document here so for posting, or whether I'm even thinking about what I'm going to talk about when I can come live, um, Sometimes I sit down and I clear my mind. And this can be done within about 2 minutes. Just clear your mind, think of nothing but space. And if your brain wants to keep running and talking to you about something, stop it. Say no, right? Inside, say, no, this is what I'm thinking of right now. Space, empty space. And what always helps me is to think of the stars because that's a very calming thing for me is to stargaze. I love stargazing at night, like I do snorkeling, but um, stargazing is an amazing thing to do. It's so very relaxing and it's so very meditational in itself. Understand what I mean? Um, and it just really recenters my body. But you take at least 2 minutes and you just kind of sit there and you just kind of think of nothing but space and you just zone out as if sometimes you get lost staring out in space, like, oh, I just fell asleep awake, your friends are like, hello, and you're just, I mean, come on, fuck, we all do it, right? So I mean, it sounds funny, but it's the damn truth. But zone out like that. Nothing says you have to answer somebody just because they talk to you immediately. Take that few minutes to just, and you switch it quietly. My daughter likes to do it out loud and sound like a crazy person. And I call her out on it every time because she'll go in her room and she does it. And I'm like, okay, I can hear you having a psycho moment. So we go round and round about that. But those are some manageable ways of doing that. Walking is another one. If you can incorporate some walking on the weekend, a little bit of exercise. Now, I'm not saying go out there and run a marathon, okay? Because if you're like me, I have knee injuries and it's just impossible. Swimming is my thing. Um, but if you can, even in the evenings, if you can just do some chair yoga, watching TV, even watching your Netflix, just sit there and start doing some chair yoga, start doing little things like this, because all of this is going to affect you in your mind, believe it or not. And it's going to help eliminate that tension that we have a tendency to kind of put all over our backs all the time. You know what I mean? And I'm notorious for that. My back is like rocks. But I swim. I get out there and I move my arms. Sometimes I have to get against the corner of a wall and just, really give myself a deep tissue. Um, I can get a massage over here for 500 pesos, but I'm kind of quirky. I don't like strangers touching me. I'm all about boundaries and personal space. And you don't invade mine, I don't invade yours. And if it's a communal hug to say goodbye or to say hello, that's acceptable. But just to be all up in somebody's space, you need to go. You need to move. But these are some healthy ways. Another healthy way that I found to manage my stress and to slow my brain down, especially when being very upset about my children, was I started getting into number painting, paint by number. Excuse me. There it is, number painting. I forgive my English. I think I'm bad at it now since damn super typhoon went through. I wasn't able to go live for anybody in like 2 weeks, but we were literally in the dark for 4 days. But I got into paint by number. Now I know it sounds generic, but it really isn't. They're very advanced, and you have to really concentrate. And yes, you have to have the time to do it. So if you've got little ones, it's not advisable because then they're going to be trying to get into the paints and stuff, right? I know they're little assholes at times. So kids can be assholes. I mean, let's just be honest. Kids can be assholes. So little jerks, and I call them extortionating thieves. Best thing in the world, but still, I mean, it's like, come on. But my children were older, and they knew better than to touch my stuff. And so, especially paints, but it was something that interested them as well. So, and you can paint some of the most prettiest pictures. Um, of course, I always painted them and gave them away as gifts, just because that's just my heart and it made me feel good. It made me feel good if somebody else came to my home and they liked it, oh, okay, I'd give it to them for Christmas, or give it to them for their birthday. And those were ways that I found to manage my stress, was to be able to give. And it didn't take any money. I mean, a paint by number at Walmart was 14. I'm sure hyperinflation's made it worse, but Amazon has a bunch of them. And you can get them as cheap as $9.99, and they're shipped right to your house worldwide. I can't order here only because I have to have it sent in the States, and then my son or my husband has to put it in a bulk buy-on box and send it to me, because Amazon wants me to buy in bulk, like 15, 20 paint by numbers. Dude, I ain't paying. I'm not buying that many. Are you kidding me? The hell am I going to do with 20 paint by numbers sitting around here? That's just a waste of my money right now. So, right now I'm focused on getting my boat up and running. That's another thing. If you're into boating, get out on the water. Get on a raft. If you have a pool and you're fortunate to have a pool, get out there. Spend 15 minutes even. Doesn't have to be a long time. Do it on your spare time. Do it on the weekends. Do it at night before you go to bed. God, I love night swimming. It's one of the best. So relaxing. And if you have a privacy fence, oh my God, go in your jumpsuit. That's even better. And so those are some healthy ways that you can manage stress. And when you do that, you're going to manage your gut bacteria, what we call microbiome. And what that's going to do is it's going to release serotonin levels in our brain. Okay. And that's the pleasure center of every human being walking the earth. And so most people have to get on antidepressants and all this other pills to be able to release those serotonin levels. I'm telling you a natural way of how to do that. And your brain will automatically release that into your brain, making your whole body feel so much better. It reduces anxiety, blood pressure, heart disease. It just reduces so much, because you might be working for the federal courts, or you might be doing this, or you might be in a big high position corporate. I don't know, but there's stress in every job. There's stress with money. There's stress with our family lives. There's stress with relationship issues. There's stress with dating. And it's our interpretation and how we deal with that that's going to manage our whole system here. And liver being a part of that. And that's why I felt like I was able to talk about this today, because I'm seeing a lot of people stressed out to the point where it's causing them issues, hormone issues, indigestion. I mean, there's just so much. And, people say, well, how can you feel stressed if it's something that you love? I don't care if it's a job that is your dream or your love, just like me here online. And I'm going to be fucking honest. Sometimes I am freaking stressed over this online business. Trust me, and I have to recenter myself. So stress is a constant. And how we deal with that is how we're going to get through life. Are we going to have major health issues as a result? Or are we going to manage the stress so we can manage our diets and so we can manage our endocrine system in a healthy way? And that's where I like to focus. That's my area of expertise. It's taken me a lot of years to get to this point in my life where I can reverse my head, my brain, and my feelings and my emotions. It's not something that you can do in 1 week. It's not something that you can do in 1 day, but it's something that if you work on it a little bit every day, it's going to come naturally. And you're not going to have to work on it anymore. It's just going to come to you. And before you know it, you're just going to be like, oh, wow, I just did that. I didn't even have to think about doing it. I just did it. And that's the beauty of repetition. Is because our minds forget so easy, right? We forget things so easy. Okay, because we're not designed to hold on to information, certain informations, but for the most part, no. What it takes is repetition. And it's that repetitiveness that embeds it into our subconscious to where we don't even have to think about it for it to be accomplished. And that's the beauty of this mechanical computer up here. I like to call our brains a computer because essentially that's what it is, you know. And I like to say that our computer always wants to take it's like an owl. It always wants to run the show, you know. And it's that yin and yang fight, right? And that's what it's going to take is this has to win over this. And when this can win over this, you've won. You've won. And it's that easy. The payoff is your health. You're healthy. You don't have issues. You don't have anxiety. You don't have depression. You don't have diabetes. You don't have out of control respiratory issues. You don't have autoimmune diseases. You don't have gastrointestinal issues. I mean, because I've been through it all. I've been through colon. Uh, uh, I've been through irritable bowel syndrome that went into diverticulitis that inflamed into diverticulosis. And I had no choice but to I had 8 inches of my colon removed. And so I know stress. And it's almost killed me like it killed my mom. And I'm sorry for that. And stroke is a big side effect. And that's exactly what she had. She had a stroke. And then when she left my care, because I was her caregiver for 4 years, she lived at my house. She wanted to move to Florida, a retirement village there close to Navarre Beach, where she threw my dad's ashes in the beach in 1995 when we lost him to the liver disease, as I have pre-mentioned in the previous videos. But 1 month later, hands down, 1 month later, I get a phone call. Massive stroke on her cerebellum. And they could have done surgery, but she was on life support, and her wish was never to be on life support, that if she was on life support, let her go. So that's what we abided by her wishes. And what was amazing was when we threw my dad's ashes in the ocean, because we abided by what his wishes were, one red rose my mom threw in, waited, it started floating, another, they met up and crossed. Well, when my brother and I threw my mom's ashes in the same place, because that's what she wished, we threw the flowers in, the roses. And do you be damned if the roses didn't cross. So we took that as a sign of, you know, that was her saying, I'm at rest. I'm with dad. I'm where I need to be. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. There's a lot of things you can do. Here, I can go down to the beach and I can just sit and be quiet and listen to the waves. I mean, that is such a stress reducer right there. Trust me. But not everybody has that luxury. So another thing is if you like music, put on some relaxation music, some deep relaxation music. It's beautiful sounds. It's beautiful music. It doesn't trigger any negativity or any negative thoughts. Sometimes I listen to forest sounds, the birds. There's a language in that if you just listen. It's actually very beautiful the way they sing. Okay, but anyway, I've talked enough, and this is what I wanted to come on today and talk about. Again, apology, I have not been able to come on live and post anything and keep up with my schedule. We had a Signal 5 super typhoon come through our area, and we were literally in the dark for about 4 days. When I don't have electricity, I got no internet, and I'm in the water, stuck in the water, stuck in the mud, as they say. But those are factors out of my control, so I have to just kind of go with the flow. And that's what I always mean when I say don't push the wave. The more you try to push the wave, or the more you try to chase the bus is going to leave you behind, right? But if you just stay still and let the bus come to you, you'll catch it every time. If you try to push the wave, you'll never push it. But if you just stand on a rock and wait for the wave to come to you, you'll know how to surf it. On that note, I'll let you go. Subscribe, join all my other videos, and I hope you got some value out of this. I would love some comments below, uh, and I welcome any and all comments. So just as long as they're not negative, because I'll delete them. I don't like negativity. So I want to stay as positive as possible because that's what we're all supposed to be trying to do to help each other. And that's what life's about. We all need each other at some point in our lives. And I think that's very important. So on that note, I'll let everybody go. Thanks for watching, and don't stress. Find those ways to just de-stress. Stay strong, stay blessed. Until next week, provided I have electricity and internet. All righty, you guys take care.